Okay, friends, tonight we're going to talk about Kal Szkalak versus Joe Weider, and I mean that in the literal sense because they actually had a little altercation, which we will talk about very soon. So, in working with Joe Weider in this little text box here, he talks about how Cal was an up and coming guy, 76. He won Mr. America. Went on to win some other stuff. So Joe wanted to get him in the magazine, and so they ended up getting together. And indeed, he did end up in several muscle builder and power magazines. You could see he's got a heck of a physique there. He's got a really massive chest. He's a thick guy. So anyway, here it's talking about how Cal thought he was getting ripped off at a certain point, not getting paid appropriately for the photographs as was supposedly contracted with Joe. So he stormed into the office, grabbed a bunch of his pictures, and as he tried to go out with them, Joe actually tackled him, which resulted in a lawsuit. But eventually, Joe settled. So I think he just wanted to brush it under the rug and be done with it. And so Cal attempted a new union other than the IFBB because he felt like he was getting shafted, and everybody else was. And he did have some people interested, and supposedly even Arnold Schwarzenegger said that he would help out, even be like one of the leaders of the union. Incidentally, we're going to be sprinkling some of Cal's covers on here as we go. So anyway, yes, he did manage to recruit a number of bodybuilders, but it turned out that the IFBB had heard about it, and they decided to have their own meeting, and that they were pretty much going to decide to put a stop to this thing, which of course they ended up doing. There's Cal down in the corner again, with a very similar shot to that last one. So anyway, the here some of the officials said the bodybuilders were trying to do this new union, were demanding more money from posting. There's really just explaining why the issues with the IFBB were what they were, and so anyway, the union didn't work out. And we'll talk about some other things that were a result of that later on. But apparently Arnold never even showed up to that meeting. One of the things that made it fail. So we are going to talk about Cal's overall routine. So we had this pretty much every day of the week except Sunday, it looks like. And again, we're going to keep posting some nice cover shots. And he was on quite a few magazines. There he is from the Great Muscle Memory site. And 5'10", 210, yeah, I think he ended up being quite a bit bigger than that. But because he was pretty big later on, I think. But this is the in 76, I think, when he won the Mr. America. Second in the most muscular in that contest, and he won Mr. USA, then Mr. Universe, and then the Olympia we'll talk about. But anyway, Cal doing chest and back supersetting. And he only did that for pre-contest training. He talks about that he likes doing them separately when he's in the off season. And he says the size and muscularity aren't everything. And he's more concerned, especially contest time, with looking proportionate. And he feels that when he does chest and back supersets together, that really helps him get that look. And some other aspects of the contest training as well. We're going to sprinkle some different muscle mag covers that he was on, and you'll see as we go through. So here's the his routine, and it consists of 16 to 18 supersets after warming up with bench presses, and his last warm-up set, as you can see here, is 405 for 10. That's a pretty hellacious warm-up, I would have to say. There he is on another Muscle Digest cover. Thick dude, really strong guy. He was one of the guys known for his strength in Gold's Gym. Butch and Gold's gym with all those guys back in that era was really saying something. So then he goes to superset and decline presses with one-arm dumbbell rows, 315 to 365 on the declines, and then a 150-pound dumbbell for the rowing. Then he talks about using 95-pound dumbbells for the bench press. We'll see a picture of later. But there he is on the declines. And there's the one-arm dumbbell row. And you can see, he looks like he's not having a great time there, but I'm sure he is. Training hard, as it should be, right? There he is with doing flies with, looks like pretty decent-sized dumbbells. They look like 60s to do flies with. And again, you can see his shoulder striations there. And then he goes into superset and cable flies with pull-downs behind the neck. And he says that 4 exercises a body part isn't quite enough. Sometimes he does a little more. So there he is on a muscle digest, and you can see there, and that's a good color picture of how just ripped and striated his shoulder is. And they seem to be in every picture we can see of him. Then he does pull downs in front with the popular new bar that has transverse handles on each end of a 2-foot length, which allows the palms to face each other, and does that with 300 pounds for big reps, I'm sure. And again, of course, they show a different bar when he's doing the wide grip pull downs here. But you can see pretty impressive back. Delts are full all over. Big back. And that's it for the back, he says, except for a couple pump exercises depending on his energy level. He might do an overhead pulley. Sometimes he does stiff arm pull downs, which totally isolate the lats. Sometimes he does dips. Here he is doing, again, lat machine tricep push downs. And you can see his arm looks pretty massive there. Very impressive horseshoe tricep there. And he calls that efficiency when he does these supersets like this. And I'm sure he blows through a workout a lot faster that way than if he was doing them individually. And he mentions here on the off season he does things a little bit differently. There he is, Mr. Olympia preview. That's him on the right there, top right. And you can see some of the people he's going to be up against. And he feels that this type of training has a direct effect on his posing. You never know how much time you're going to have in between your posing presentations. So it's kind of a matter of stamina, and I think that's what he was looking for. Not I think, that's what he says, that he gets that out of the superset training, and that's why he does it pre-contest, as well as he thinks it makes him look more proportionate. So he's talking about how, you get flushed, you get pumped up, and you get called up there, and you're posing and everything. And then, you got to go sit down and relax, and then you get called up again, and it's just this ongoing process where you're, getting pumped up and cooled down. There's another muscle and fitness, or muscle builder and power, and looking, really awesome from front and back. And he says he's at the point now where he can get a pump without even using any weight. He can just start popping some poses and contracting the muscles, and next thing you know, he's getting a pump. My wife has to remind me I'm too big for the couch. And this chest, and he's got the rib cage thing going on too, like the old school guys did. But that chest is just phenomenal. And he says, if I don't work my chest and back at the same time, I look disproportionate. And it's a crucial time because he's getting ready for the 78 Olympia, even as this article is being written, I believe. And here he is, nice shot of the abs, and he's got nice intercostals and the serratus, and you can see the veins in his lats. Good vascularity throughout. And he talks about how training for a single contest all year long is rather difficult because you don't have chances to do warm-up or practice with other shows. And it's kind of all or nothing proposition. And it's tough when you put everything you have training for a year. You go into a contest, and then there's miscellaneous mishaps that could happen. There's a nice shot of the traps, shoulders, chest, arms, everything pretty much. And he says, they tell me my back looks as good as Arnold's now, and that's inspiring. And he has wants to go to, actually, okay, this must have been in 76, this, but it popped up in the 78 magazine for some reason. Talks about Mr. Universe in 77, which he won his division. And there he is doing dumbbell cross bench pullovers, which he describes as being part of a chest and back superset. I think the kind of get all the above with this exercises, except for not so much chest, depending on how you do it. The way I do it, I feel mostly triceps and lats. So he does, and then the back part of that is the long range pulley rows. And you can see he's like leaning all the way forward and he's pulling all the way back. This is a great shot of his upper body, just thickness and mass. Nothing lacking there for sure. And you can see again, with the grimace on his face, the man's working hard. There he is doing wide grip chins. Like sometimes he did pull downs, sometimes he did chins. Again, he likes to mix things up a little bit. And then we go into the shoulder routine, at least the text of it, where he does supersets of shoulders. And again, nothing really exotic, 4 sets of 8 of a bunch of different things. Of course, he does bend out. He's hitting them from all sides. And you can see, I mean, that shoulder is insane with the striations and everything else to go with it, really. Just a very thick. And even you can see at the very top of his pecs, there's nothing lacking there. Calves, he ends up doing like 12 times 12, 3 different exercises, and 3 different exercises on the waist. But with 200 reps each, that's a lot of work on the waist. And I think he does that a couple times a week. It is a nice black and white shot that looks like kind of the 180-degree difference of the color one that we had, but his right shoulder looks even more striated and ripped. Then he goes into the bicep and tricep routine, and again, nothing exotic, and it's about 5 sets of each body part, or 5 exercises, I should say, with like 4 sets of each. So I think 20 sets of biceps, and then about the same for the triceps. There he is doing curl bar tricep presses, and picture's upside down kind of, but you get the point. You can see what's going on, obviously. And then he again with the and he looks like a straighter version of his tricep push downs on the lat machine. Nice shot again of the shoulders and just the crazy thickness of his chest. And then it looks like he's on Smith machine doing shoulder work there. Nothing wrong with that arm. Arm, has good shape, size, vascularity, and looks like almost the size of his head. So, dude had it going on, and he was a very strong guy. As of course, anybody that can do 10 reps with over 400 is impressive, especially as a bodybuilder. And that's a good look. He's got a very aesthetic physique. Got all the right size in all the right places. This is, I guess, an off-season picture of him because he's not quite ripped to the gills. So then, in the 78 Olympia that we referred to earlier, it talks about Kal's crucifixion. He actually did have a pose that was like a crucifixion, which was kind of weird. But anywho, he ended up coming 5th in this Mr. Olympia, which was very disappointing to him and allegedly to the crowds at the time, because he seemed to be a crowd favorite. Everybody was rooting for him, and in fact thought that he was going to be the winner. Didn't turn out that way again. Disappointed with the 5th place finish. So here's back to where he was talking about doing the 95-pound dumbbells and just doing dumbbell presses with them on a regular flat bench. And then he does these cable crossovers, which is another thing. I don't think they even had. Yeah, I guess they had pec decks back then. I didn't see him that much. And here he is doing another tricep push down variation, or press down. And it looks like with some kind of straps. There's another nice shot of especially the rib cage thickness and just the overall mass and size of the man's upper body on this Bodybuilding World magazine. And then this picture, sorry, it's a little fuzzy, but this picture reminds me of Tim Belknap, just because the combination of just the mass and being ripped to the gills at the same time is just really impressive. And I think Belknap had that at a time. So that's about it for the Kal video. I'm glad that I got to feature him, because I knew who he was, and I learned some things about him in the process. So I do thank you for watching. I thank you for hitting those thumbs ups for me. It helps me out. I thank everybody that has subscribed, especially lately. We're getting up close to 2,000 subscribers, and I hope that we can get not only to that, but far surpass it in the long run. So again, thank you for those who have subscribed. If you have not subscribed, I would really appreciate it if you did. I put a lot of work into these videos. These little 10-15 minute videos can take hours to put together and edit and get out to you. So again, I appreciate your help there, and thanks again, and I am out, and I'll catch you later.